Welcome to another episode of It Had to Be Said podcast, where we say out loud what you think in private. No topic is off limits. In today's podcast, we are going to be talking about childhood trauma and how it affects us as adults and how we perceive life after that. Now, let's take a scenario where you have two kids. They grow up in the exact same household. They get treated the exact same way. In this household, income is low, they're impoverished, and parents are abusive. One of those kids, they can look at life and say, you know what? Life is hard. It's horrible. I go hungry. My parents abuse me. I don't get anything for Christmas because we can't really afford it. And I see all the other kids with new game systems and bikes for Christmas. And I hate this. The other child could look at it and say the exact same thing. Now, here's where the difference is. As they grow up and they become adults, one child can have the perception of the cup being half full and say, you know what? I know why I was in this situation because my parents could not afford certain things. My parents made bad decisions, and this is why we ended up in the situation we ended up in. So I'm going to work hard and not end up like my parents. I'm going to save money and be financially responsible so I don't end up like my parents. I'm going to learn as much as I possibly can so I don't end up like my parents and I don't make my kids suffer. Where you will have the other child who grew up in that exact same situation, experience the exact same things. They can use their whole childhood upbringing as a crutch to say, well, I did not learn as much in school because I came from an abusive household. I am abusive to my partner and to my kids because my parents never showed me love. You see? So it all depends on your perspective. You can grow up in a shitty environment, but if you really don't like the situation you were in, you can make a decision right then and there or at some point in your life to say, no, I'm going to make sure my kids don't go through the same horrible situations that I went through because I knew how it felt to be hurt. There's an old saying that says, some of the nicest people are some of the people that have been hurt the most. And the people that have been hurt and they know how to feel, they know how that hurt feels. They don't want to transfer that hurt onto other people that they care about and that they love. So therefore, they actually show the people that they care about and the people that they love more love because they know how it feels not to feel love and how it feels to be hurt. So this is why sometimes when I hear people use the excuse of I had an abusive childhood, I had all this childhood drama, I've been through this situation or in this relationship, and these people that treated me horribly or whatever the case may be, and they try to use that as an excuse for them not moving forward or for them treating somebody else badly, I look at that person as somebody who still needs to learn. And I am not a heavily religious person, but I believe that we all go through trials and tribulations in order for us to learn. And until we learn, we're going to continue going through those trials and tribulations. It's so crazy because you can go through something one time and never have to go through that again because you went through it the first time, you paid attention, you learned, you grew, and therefore you avoided situations that can lead to that bad situation happening again. For me, I think that is one of the most important parts of self-development. You have to be able to take accountability for your action. If somebody does something bad to you, a family member or friend, if you sit there and you're just crying about, oh, I can't believe that this person did this to me and I gave them everything and I trusted them, you're never going to heal. You're never going to fix the problem. Guess what's going to happen? Either you're going to completely shut down and become an asshole just like that person, or you're just going to be mean. Or what you're going to do is you're going to sit there and say, hey, you know what? Only reason I got hurt is because I allowed this person into my life. I can't blame the snake for biting me. It kind of goes back to the old story of the frog and the scorpion where, the scorpion is walking. He comes up to a lake and he looks at the frog and he tells the frog, hey, can you give me a ride across the lake? And the frog is like, nah, because you're going to sting me. And the scorpion tells the frog, well, if I'm on your back and you're riding me across the lake, if I sting you, we both are going to drown. So I wouldn't sting you. And for the frog, he thinks about it and he goes, yeah, that makes sense. So he gives the scorpion a ride. And halfway through, The scorpion stings the frog, and the frog looks back at the scorpion and say, well, why did you do that? Now we both are going to drown. And the scorpion looks at the frog and said, I can't help it. I'm a scorpion. I sting. That's what I do. So you cannot get mad at people who do you wrong. If they're a snake, if they're a crappy person, a liar, a cheater, or an abuser, and they lie, they cheat on you, or they abuse you, don't get mad at them. Get mad at yourself for allowing them into your circle. And this is the only way you will actually grow, because you're taking the onus and the blame off of them and you're putting it on yourself. So the next time you meet people, you'll be more aware of that. And you'll keep people at a distance until you really get to know who they are. And then you're going to let them into your circle. And it may take 2 or 3 times before you get the process right. But this is part of life. This is part of growing up. So when I talk to individuals, and I'm 43, so when I talk to individuals around my age range, and dating is going to be extremely hard. Like for me, if I was to meet a woman right now and a woman was to be like, oh, I go out on a date with a woman and she still has some type of trauma or drama, I just walk away, because at a certain point in your life, you've gone through so much that you should have learned certain things. And when you're young, I give people the excuse because you're young. But once you start hitting mid-20s, 30s, 40s, there's really no excuse for any of the bad behavior or any of the things that you're going through, unless you're just one of those stubborn people who just refuses to learn from the lessons that life is trying to teach you. Thank you for listening and supporting my podcast. I would love to hear your thoughts on this particular episode. You can leave a comment on whatever platform you're listening to my podcast on. If there's a topic or a viral video you'd like for me to cover, you can DM me on Instagram at It Had to Be Said Podcast. I post new episodes Tuesday and Thursday at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ladies and gentlemen, good night.